Hey everyone, welcome back to Flow State Reactions. I am Starry and I'm here yet again to react to The Lord of the Rings. And this is the behind the scenes appendices for the Two Towers. Two Towers. The Return of the King, of course. And we are actually coming to the end of this playlist. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful journey it has been, I must say. And I hope you guys are enjoying yourself as much as I am, because I am just delighted to no end, as I have said many times before. All right, you guys, we're just going to go ahead and get into this one. This next one is a very short video, and it's called Demonstration of the Mama Kill. It's like visual effects, so we'll just see what this is and then move on into the next one, okay? All right, here we go. Everybody relax and let's flow. Okay, demonstration. Previds. Look at this. They did a great job just in the previds, right? Wait. Is this oh, it's still previous. Oh, thought it was like actual footage. That looks pretty realistic, right? Or is it just me? That can't be previds. That has to be a part of the film. No live action for this shot. Okay. What does that mean? It just... Oh, they didn't have it yet. Okay, this is what they were working with. They would just put that in there and then have the sound there. That's so funny to hold the place. Lord have mercy. I don't know how all of this totaled a completed project. Look at this. You got them in different colors. Wow. Look at this. I appreciate them putting that in there, because it really shows you just the unbelievable scope of what they were up against. It's just... You saw that little clip that said no massive shot or something like that. Wow. I wish more people had the chance to watch the Appendices, because it just really has so many layers to the experience. Because look, all of this preparation. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put blood, sweat, and tears just into the previds. Endless hours just in preparation. Wow. And it paid off. Good for them. Okay, wait, was that it? Oh, that was it. Okay, so we're moving on to the next thing. Oh, no one's talked or anything. No voiceover. It was just me.
Return of the King closes
Hi, Peter.
with a song called Into the West. And that
this is the
has
inspiration for Into the West.
Okay. Background in terms of how it was inspired.
Okay.
The story is about a young New Zealand filmmaker, actually, a young man called Cameron Duncan, who was 16 years old when we met him.
Oh, 16.
And we actually met Cameron in a way that was not related to Return of the King at all. Fran and I wanted to support a organ donation campaign here in New Zealand, like a sort of public awareness commercial that we wanted to help get made, because it's a cause that we feel very strongly about. And we'd become aware of this very talented young man who was making movies, who was winning competitions.
Oh, really?
Cameron had been making films ever since he was a kid. I mean, in that regard, he was very much like me. And and one commercial in particular was a road safety commercial that he'd won prizes for when he was much younger, when he was 12 or 13.
What?
So we were very impressed
that
with
was
Cameron's
well
work,
done.
and we thought that it would be great to
Yeah.
invite Cameron to actually make this organ donation commercial, because it was a chance to as well as supporting the campaign, to actually give support to a young filmmaker as well. So we had this plan of inviting Cameron to make this commercial, of getting some volunteers from the Return of the King crew to help film it during the weekends. So we contacted Cameron about this, and we found out something that Cameron had just experienced that we had no idea about, and he had actually contracted cancer.
Well, in October 2001, Cameron was a softball pitcher, and we were about to go into the softball season. We were just warming up, and that's when Cameron noticed a lump on his knee and an ache in his left knee. So we started going to the doctors to see what was wrong with him, and by February 2002, they diagnosed it as osteosarcoma.
Well, that was a huge thing for me. I was told that I would never play softball again, which is, really, when you spend your whole life devoted to something and just have it end in a day, is really shocking. So I, against my doctor's orders to not play the next day, on the Saturday, I played my last game, which is a very emotional game.
And you told your teammates?
Yep, I told them there. I asked them if they could play the guts out for me, because this could possibly be my last game, or, the last time they'd see me.
Oh, my
And we
goodness.
had no idea about this.
Look at how well he's talking about it,
and
too.
what he said to us was that he was clear. He'd gone through a very horrible chemotherapy regime, and it was looking good for him, that he was obviously really excited about doing the organ donation campaign. And he just happened to mention that he'd finished a film, a short film that he'd made about his experiences as a cancer patient.
I thought, why not write about it? It's a good story. I have a good story on my hands, and it'd be good to be,
my goodness.
To speak for people who have no voice.
He was aiming at things like incarceration and the freedom that he'd lost, and he wanted to inspire particularly his closest friends, because they were softballers and they didn't appreciate the fact that they could run and walk, and he wanted to tell them, be grateful for what you've got. Because by this time he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, my goodness.
Freedom is taken so much for granted. And you don't appreciate the small things that you have.
Look at this.
My number is TFK 6498. A number which was printed on all my records since the beginning of my life here on this very earth. Sentenced to imprisonment. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't perform a crime. Hell, I've never even drunk a drop of liquor, nor smoked a cigarette, never looked twice at drugs. I'm what you call a 100% straight shooter, but I'm in here. This hellhole, my personal four-wall prison. All because of this. This thing, this demon I must care for and nurture, for this is why I'm here. It's amazing how something so simple can destroy so much.
Oh, my goodness.
The meals here are horrible. Everybody says it. It's amazing how much a human being will endure just to survive. It's
This
always
is
the same.
fantastic.
Always. I have a tendency to feel sorry for myself, but I'm constantly reminded of the others who joined me here.
Yeah.
These people,
Oh,
they're only young.
this is so impressive.
They too have committed no crime.
Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Innocent. I go through the day in, day out routine.
So good.
The head guard is so punctual. He comes in on every morning, binds me to my room. It's a punishment I must face as part of my sentence. It's like kryptonite to Superman. I hate it. The only thing I have to go by is that it's all for my own good. I suppose it's my fault I'm in here. For years I've spent toying with fate. Maybe fate has chosen to toy with me. In which case fate has served this purpose well. I was so free. The world, my playground, the soil, my arena. Fate has pushed me so far as to see my life teeter on the edge of a building. But I would never jump. I live for my peers, for the people I love. For when I die, it is not me who will be affected.
You can see it
It's
in
the
my
ones I
face.
leave
I am just
behind.
beside myself.
This would probably be the only goddamn prison that leaves their doors unlocked. It's a torture that each inmate must face. But
He
I dare
wrote
not
this?
leave. Not even for freedom. The worst part about being in here is how time ticks by incessantly, so slowly. Being caged doesn't mean that time stops, for we all live our lives by the clock, and so too do I live mine, but much slower. Seconds feel like minutes, minutes like hours, hours like days, days like months. It's like chasing a rainbow to no resolve. You just chase it. I found the best way to pass the time is to sleep, because when I sleep, I dream. And when I dream, I can rise above the walls of the prison. I dream of waking up among lilies and getting that feeling in my body that only comes when you're by yourself. I dream of the simple things that possess so much beauty for even the most unfortunate man. I dream of listening to the whisper of my breathing, paying attention to the function more so than in any routine moment. I dream of seeing things so beautiful that it hurts to watch them. Freedom is taken so much for granted when you don't appreciate the small things that you have. You know, the hardest part about dreaming is having to wake up. Because when I awake, I'm still here.
That was wonderful. Oh my God. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. I was not expecting to cry.
So as you can see, I mean, the film, you know, made by a 16-year-old is remarkable for just the wisdom and the incredible insight that Cameron showed.
Did you want to die? Was it so bad, the chemo?
Sometimes, yeah. So it's horrible. It's the worst stuff in the world. Yeah, again, sort of getting sick to get better and recovering each week to get sick again is really hard. You know, you want to jump off a bridge. I mean, I'd never do it, but you know, it's that bad. It's a really hard treatment, and there's so many young kids going through it. That's the only thing that keeps you going, is that these young guys are there.
So we started to talk to Cameron about the organ donation campaign, and then very much at the same time, he was re-diagnosed with cancer. The cancer had come back. He was clear, but only clear for a couple of months, basically.
By March 5th, we found out that he had been diagnosed terminal and that the oncologists here believed that he didn't have any chance of survival. And they gave him probably a couple of months to live.
There was very little we could do, but what we did do was to invite him down to the set of Return of the King. We were shooting our pickups.
So he had
Oh my God, this is going to have me just beside myself.
Go to workshops and have a look at the set, and it was just cool. He just raved about it for about the next 3 weeks.
He actually brought down a tape of his home movie.
Hold on, I'm going to pause it. Pausing it at 10:15 because I want to really enjoy this, but that really touched me watching his video. It was so impressive, and it was so deeply spiritual, and it really blew me away. Anyone who's ever suffered from a chronic illness, emotional, mental, or physical trauma in any way, they know what that being a prisoner within your own body, being a prisoner within your own body, they know what that feels like, right? And I know what that feels like. So just being able to see that and seeing that he was so young when he wrote that, he experienced that, and it's just so impressive, because I was in prison in my own body for years and years and years, and it wasn't until just recently, within the past few years, that I was able to make it out. And the transition from his mental, emotional, and physical prison into going to sleep and dreaming. And the first thing he wanted to do was walk amongst the lilies and just really embodied the feeling that you have from solitude. And it was just perfect, because that's exactly what I experienced as I finally pulled myself up out of that space. So anybody who has had that experience knows that he is spot on, that he knows what it's like to be a prisoner to one's own suffering. That is just remarkable for him to be able to express it in that way at such a young age. Yeah, Peter has an eye for brilliance. I love that. So like I said, I just wanted to get that out because I didn't want another video where I was like tearing up the whole entire time trying to watch it, because I still got like, what, 20 minutes left. So yeah. All right, I feel better. And I'm going to press play at 10:15. Okay. Dang, that got me. Okay, I'm gonna be okay. All right.
War scenes, explosions, and there was a lot about Cameron that reminded me of myself when I was that age.
Yeah.
Now, the neighbours didn't complain too much about Cameron. They did initially. At first, they thought it was cars backfiring. When they got used to it happening on a regular weekend basis, they knew it was this kid in the park.
Every weekend. Like, this is what he's doing for fun.
Fantastic, because I tried to do explosions as well, and I used to use old fireworks, but Cameron had figured out a technique which I wish I knew when I was young, which was mixing up household chemicals, which will not be discussed here on this video. But mixing up household chemicals into a Coca-Cola bottle and kind of screwing it up and letting it explode, and I was very impressed by that.
I mean, just to have all of that creativity in you.
Part where he'd given Pete a clip of his home movies, and it was the laser swords. And he said Pete took it into Weta Digital and showed them, Mum. He came back, he goes, Pete was showing them, saying, look, Cameron made these, a 16-year-old did this on his home computer. So it made him feel that he was actually hitting the mark.
That's just too good.
Got to hang around with Peter Jackson and sort of sit behind him and watch over his shoulder. Viggo Mortensen, I went up and sort of met him and got introduced to him. I said, this is Viggo. You don't have to tell me. And
you don't have to tell me.
Cameron. He goes, yeah, I've heard a lot about you, man. He goes,
look at that. I was
saying, and he goes, you made a little film, and yeah. I go, I have to get you a copy. And he goes, don't worry, I've been ripping off copies all over the place. I got one right here. I'm taking it back to my trailer right now, Ian McKellen saw it, and he said, don't worry about it. Forget about directing. What about acting? He's quite. That was cool. It was really awesome to know that they'd seen it and stuff and liked it, and got quite famous on the set there.
Yeah, because you didn't just direct it; he wrote it and acted in it. Like, it was amazing.
And we were obviously, hoping that we could help him in whatever way to fight this disease. We were talking to him about the organ donation commercial, which he still wanted to do, and as the months wore on, I mean, obviously he was fighting a very tough battle, and it got to a point where I think Cameron, in his heart, probably felt that he had limited time. I mean, he was very positive, he was very optimistic, he was a real battler, but he suddenly became invested with this huge desire to want to make movies very quickly. And so he wanted to make the organ donation commercial, which he did.
And he felt that was an obligation. He absolutely wanted to honour Peter for recommending him to make it, and he was determined he was going to make it.
Even after knowing he was re-diagnosed?
He regarded organ donors as heroes and life-saving heroes, because he thought one day he's going to need a lung. He thought he wanted to acknowledge them as heroes, and that's why he made it the way he did.
So just walk through it. So go, Kyle.
Look at this.
Go, Kyle, and open up your thing and pull out your tank. Bob, go, Bob.
This is a pretty major production, though.
Oh, it's pretty major. It'd be the most majorist that I've ever done. All the crossing and the timing and the... Oh, that looked cool.
Is it good to be in this, doing this shooting?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I never thought I'd be doing this again. So it's quite cool to be back.
He's a teenager doing these films, going through chemotherapy. And just the emotional, mental, and physical toll that takes on the body. And just, wow. Oh, look at that. Become
And
a
even
hero.
more remarkable than that is a film called Strike Zone, which he did. Now, Strike Zone was made when Cameron was undergoing what was essentially his last round of chemotherapy, and he was incredibly ill. He wrote the film during one bout of chemotherapy, very sick, in bed. When the chemo had a break for 2 or 3 weeks between the bouts of chemo, he gathered enough strength to get out of hospital bed and to actually undertake this shoot, which had night shoots. It was raining. It had war scenes. It was this technically difficult little film to make. And I remember talking to him
remarkable.
Just after he'd finished the movie. And I was in England doing the music at this stage for Return of the King. We were over in England. He was down here in New Zealand.
Wow.
And I asked him what it was like, how it went, and he was sort of talking about the normal things that any filmmakers experience, about how difficult the night shoots were, how difficult the rain was, and the extras, and having to stage this softball match, actually, which is in the film. And then he sort of says, oh, and it was a real bummer because I right in the middle of it, I popped a hole in my lung, which was a result of this cancer had eroded his lungs away to such an extent that he popped a hole in his lung. And the way that he just threw it out there, like it was just one of those.
Well, what happens when you pop a hole in your lung?
I mean, it was amazing.
On day 3 of that shoot,
world?
day 2 of that shoot, we actually shot something like, I think Cameron was up for 22 hours. And the actual shoot started around 3:30 in the afternoon and wrapped at 6:30 the following morning.
How do you...
that was amazing for a boy who was undergoing some pretty heavy chemotherapy treatment and carrying big tumours in his lungs, and had also popped a hole in his lung.
And what's actually incredible is not just the fact that he made this movie under these conditions, but it's the actual quality of the film itself. And we should have a look at Strike Zone now and just be aware, I've told you of the way in which it was made, but forget that. Just have a look at it as a piece of filmmaking.
Wow. I don't even know. How was he even able to muster the energy to move, let alone direct a film? Oh, Bob. I remember this.
Well, that kickstarts this game. Let's play ball.
If you looked at us now, we look good. To think only 2 months ago we were the worst team in the league. Who would have known that love of the game could consume your life? Softball is a sport like cancer. It grows on you.
Well, it's the best we could have hoped for. The scans are clear. You're healthy. We'll see you again in 6 months. Hey, don't worry. Be happy. It's great news.
Cameron, the doctor's ready to see you now.
You play out the scenario in your head, hoping for a positive outcome, but that's often not the case.
Cameron, it's not good news, I'm afraid.
Reality sucks.
You have around 25 metastatic lesions on both sides of your lungs. Chemotherapy would not be effective at this time. And from a curative point of view, well, we really are out of options. I'm sorry.
And that was it. I tell you what, that was the saddest drive home of my life.
For him to be so vulnerable and to share this with us in this way.
Of their life if they only had 2 months to correct it.
It's just beyond words.
And I was to be the coach. I knocked on every door with a ball outside in the yard, every youthful prospect in the neighborhood. And I held the postcard close to the man who would make it all worthwhile, the legendary Kevin Hurley, the man who could throw the fastest projectile on the planet, the 220-kilometer fastball that would win me my championship.
Sorry, I must have the wrong house. I was looking for Kevin Hurley.
No, you're at the right house.
You don't look like the guy in the picture. We became good friends, and I signed him up as pitching coach. And for the record, it was only 150 kilometers. It got faster as the myth grew. And so, my team was complete. I trained these pansies into the ground. I taught them about pain, how much I was in and how much they weren't. I pushed their flabby bodies to near heart attacks, and I always said,
When I say shit, you say how much. I am not your friend. And that little voice in the back of your head, pushing you to work harder. Even when I'm not there.
When I think of the team, I think of the camaraderie, the battalion in the war.
You two, take the hole. Go!
Wow. Where is he finding these locations?
My men are soldiers, and the diamond is our battlefield. Softball is the game of life to me. There's something about the gracefulness of it all that makes it the greatest game on earth.
Hey, Cam, we're down 2-1. We really need you to get out there and talk to the guys now, eh?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
I'm just smiling because I'm so impressed by everything that I'm hearing and seeing.
2-1 with a runner on first and no outs?
Jesus. That is not in our favor. 15 minutes, I don't give a damn what you do with your lives after this. I don't care if you never play this game again.
Okay.
But this championship's your gift to me, if nothing else than this. I want you to pitch the hardest your arm will let you throw the ball. I want you guys to run the fastest and the hardest that your legs will carry you, because there is one thing that I have learned from all I've been through, is that you only regret the things that you didn't do. No regrets, guys. Not tonight. Defense on 3, eh?
He's good acting too.
1, 2, 3, defense!
I talked a lot of crap, but with a few good words, you can change a team.
Unbelievable, folks. I've never, ever seen anything like that in my entire career. What a catch! Holy mackerel. I don't know what Coach Cam said to those boys, but this is a whole new team. They are playing outstanding ball.
All right.
I told Lee Cameron to run into them if they get in your way. I should have known it was a disaster waiting to happen.
Oh. Oops. Oh, no.
You're out of here! You're out! Out!
Baby is going down to the wire.
They silly.
Kurt was always the show pony. And there we were. 1 out for the game. 1 out, and it was all over. It was one of those plays that seemed to last for a lifetime.
Come on, you can do
Cameron
it.
may have been called out for charging on the bases earlier, but he won the game that night.
Oh. Wow.
I'll never forget their faces as they charged home to hug Lee. I wish I could have been there, but I never made it out to congratulate them. You just know when death is coming, because you start remembering your life more than you actually live it.
Yeah.
When your time is up, your time is up. And you just pray to God that you've done something worthwhile with your life. I prayed that the guys would never forget this night and what we had. This was our championship, and this was their gift to me. They chose me a spot on the hill so I could guard the field as the seasons passed time and time again. To bring a team of men together like that is something short of magic. I hope I'll be missed, and I want people to cry at my funeral. But the one thing that I don't want to be is I don't want to be forgotten. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that.
Okay, so we have credits here. I think it's coming. So I'm usually filming earlier in the morning, and I finish typically before the sun actually comes up and starts beaming through the window. So that's why you see this. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's not 5 minutes left of credits, but I'm just gonna let it play. That was wonderful. I wasn't too sure of what to expect.
There's a part in Strike Zone where Cameron makes us all face the reality that he was facing. Cameron was very much a realist. In fact, one of his school teachers felt he was a young philosopher. He really looked deeply into what was going on in his life and this life-threatening disease that he had. He looked at it realistically and decided, right, I'm going to go the whole hog. So he had in his script that he would die on the field.
Yeah, that was
beautiful
remarkable
way to go for a person who wanted to be a New Zealand softball player. And certainly a way to get everyone's attention, because it was immensely sad, as we all knew, what he was up against, and hugely mature of him to face that.
Okay.
I'd seen the script and I thought, oh, Cameron, why do cancer victims always have to die? You know, why can't you make a movie about them winning? Because I was so positive and I just so didn't want to face this part. And he just made me look at it. In fact, Fran and I talked about it after Fran and Pete had seen Strike Zone, and Fran said too, he's using a medium to make us realise what we don't want to realise. We don't want to see.
And at that time, Fran was writing the song into the West further into the film, except she wasn't very inspired and was kind of stuck and was sort of sitting for hours looking at a blank piece of paper trying to figure out what the lyrics of the song could be. And then Cameron sent over Strike Zone, which he'd just finished. When Fran saw this film, she immediately felt inspired to write the words of the song.
Fran is a genius too.
When we were
My goodness.
in August, we were thinking about writing the song. Cameron was very much with us. He was getting chemo at that time in New Zealand, but he was calling us and emailing us, and he was making a Strike Zone, which is a great testament to him and his abilities as a filmmaker and just who he is as a person.
Yeah.
And it was during that time that it became more apparent to me that he wasn't probably going to beat this thing, even though that wasn't something that you let yourself think about it. Felt like he probably wasn't going to beat the cancer. And so it was odd because the song is very much about, you know, Frodo's passing, but it personally, for me, was also about reconciling conflicted feelings about Cameron and what he was facing. It's something, he was a special kid, that's all I can say. He really was. I know all kids are special, but he was extra special.
He was.
And a lot of people felt it.
Yeah.
there's a line in Strike Zone where Cameron refers to the fact that, what do you do when you have 2 months to live? And as it turned out, he had exactly 2 months to live.
The thing I thank Cameron very much for was at a time of death when it hit so hard, he had already laid the foundations for his funeral by showing us how he wanted it done, and we reenacted it for him. I really am grateful for
They
that.
reenacted it. Oh my
I suppose
God.
one thing I should say is that we picked him a place on the hill so that he could watch the seasons pass. I think he says time after time. And that is where he is. He's on a hill, watching over the park.
He didn't want to be forgotten, and it's great that this DVD exists now because he won't be. So we're very happy to have been able to present these films.
I appreciate that. Okay, this is the end of this video. The next one is an Easter egg. I'm sure it's gonna be funny, so I'm definitely gonna have to stop that there. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I wasn't sure what to expect with this video, certainly not this, but I do appreciate them putting this into the appendices, because even almost 25 years later now, a little hobbit on YouTube is discovering Cameron Duncan, so he will never be forgotten, because that was a remarkable story. It was a remarkable presentation. I am just in awe of someone so young, possessing so much tenacity and audacity and just like spiritual awareness. His mother said that he was like a philosopher. Like, you could just feel it. He was just oozing with wisdom even at that young age. Just the videos that he put out, it's just remarkable. It really was. And it's a testament to the miracle of passion. Like, this was his passion project, putting out these films, writing these screenplays. And you could see the passion gave him superhuman abilities and superhuman strength, because even in the midst of going through chemotherapy, and his body breaking down, his body betraying him, him even mentioning he put a hole in his lung. My goodness, what happens? What are the symptoms of that? Like, and he was still able to endure grueling filmmaking schedules, right? 22 hours out filming. There's something that is inside of all of us that is bigger than our body. And he was living proof of that. My goodness, I really appreciate Peter and Fran for including that, because they didn't have to. And the way that they presented it is a source of inspiration just in its own self, right? I don't mention Fran much, but Fran and Philippa and Peter were like this, the three musketeers in the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy, right? Because they wrote it together. They were coming up with music, and then Peter gets most of the credit because he also directed it, but they're geniuses as well. And I just want to say I appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact that Fran is never to be seen. Like, she's like this mysterious character, right? Even during this, they had audio interview of Fran, so I like that about her. It took me, I don't know how many videos to even realize that Peter and Fran were actually married later on. I didn't know that. So that's interesting, that she's like completely behind the scenes type of person, not everybody wants to be seen. Okay, good for you. And good for you guys for being able to just shine the spotlight for, first of all, to even attract someone with that much brilliance and that much light and that much just soul, you know what I mean? To find find this person out of all of the people in the world. And you're right. He was definitely a special kid, and I feel inspired just from watching that. You know what I mean? And at one point, I was. It opened me up, and it made me feel really vulnerable at one point after watching his first video, because I wasn't expecting that, and just the way that he put it together, and the analogy of being a prisoner in your own body, and then being free in your dreams. Like, I related to that so much just because of, you know, what I've gone through in my life, dealing with trauma and silently, and being able to finally get out of it. That was so good. And I know that it's going to resonate with a lot more people, which is the reason they put that in there, because, you know, a lot of us go through that, you know. I will probably edit that part out, because I was like crying and just like, I was not ready. So I had to pause. I don't usually pause the video as I'm watching it, because it takes longer to edit and, you know, get it back in sync and all that kind of stuff. But I paused that time because it was just, I wanted to enjoy what I was watching, and I was losing it. So I'm glad I got that out. But anyway, you guys might not see that part, but you know, it was very well done, and very well received by me. I'm going to take a break and then hopefully come back and watch the Easter eggs, because there's like just two more videos in this particular playlist, and I have a feeling they're going to be like funny and lighthearted, and so I need to get into that space. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, I love you, and let's flow.